Any interesting anecdotes? They never come when you force them.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week we bid farewell to Jessica Jones and the Punisher on Netflix.
Bon voyage, like the scene at the end of Lord of the Rings.
It is literally a surprise to nobody at this point. Wolverine and Professor X get Guinness World Records.
Ooh, okay, cool.
We'll talk about what they won. We also should not expect any Phase 4 MCU news till later this year, and we'll tell you when and more.
It's like the news is no news. You're going to have to wait.
Yeah, pretty much. What I like about this time of year, Mike, is you know what time of year it is?
What time of year is it, Chris?
It's when Kevin Feige comes out of his Feige hole, and if he sees a shadow, it's a couple more weeks till the next MCU movie.
And this is just more motivation to make sure that Kevin Feige's movies get nominated for awards because he's forced to come out to those red carpet. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if for some reason he gets lucky enough and he starts to get nominated every year, maybe he won't come out every year because it's like... But this is like new. This is fresh to him. Like he's never really been out there on the red carpet before for a superhero movie. So
so we have this in 2 weeks. He has to be doing the press runs for Captain Marvel, which is in 2 weeks, and then Endgame is like 6 weeks after that. So he's going to be out for an extended period of time. He might get a little bit of a sunburn. I'm a little concerned.
Get that sunscreen, Kevin.
This is why he purposely didn't schedule any movies between July and March or July and May of next year, so he can go back and hide for a little bit for the next one.
I can't wait until Warner Brothers kind of gets a figurehead that reaches kind of like the icon that Kevin Feige has, so we can imagine what sort of object that they might be crawling in and out of. We just need somebody else on the other end of the spectrum, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, as long as they have a nice hat line that we can buy into, I will totally be on board.
Yeah, there you go. I
guarantee you we're going to see one either tonight or for the Captain Marvel that he's going to be wearing. So just keep your eyes open, and I will add that to my collection. This weekend, I've really done a whole lot of nothing, Mike. Actually, I'm going to add this. Video games have been my weekend because I need to decompress a little bit. I've been playing Rocksmith.
Rocksmith, what is that?
So imagine Rock Band with a real guitar.
Whoa, okay.
And it teaches you the guitar as you play. Like it starts you off really easy, single notes, and there's little games you can play to learn chord progression or scales and keys and stuff like that. So I've actually had it for a while, and I dug out my Avengers guitar, and I've been playing on that a little bit because I do have an Avengers guitar, and it's been really fun.
You'll be at your local college campus under a tree playing Wonderwall in no time, Chris.
Wonderwall is one of the songs you can buy for this. However, I don't have an acoustic.
Okay, yeah.
If I pulled out the I'm actually better at my bass guitar than I am the regular, but I am just going to go ahead and I'm like, I'll pull out the 16 and give it something to feel. I'm feeling like I'm learning something while playing games, which is great. But the biggest thing here, like I think is interesting, is in video game world, Xbox is talking about bringing their Game Pass service to the Nintendo Switch.
Whoa, what?
And I pitched this to Xbox as a Game Pass. It's essentially their Netflix for video games. They have a library of games on this. You subscribe, it's like $10 a month.
Okay.
And you can download and play any of these games.
So
while you have that
subscription. It's not like PS. It's not like the PS service, but it kind of is, because on PlayStation you just get to download like 3 games like a month, right?
You're thinking of, so the Xbox has that Games with Gold, which is included with your online subscription, which is what the PlayStation Network PSN free games. I think PlayStation has a game streaming service. I don't know what it's called. PlayStation Now is what they have. But Xbox is specific to Xbox. Like Halo games are on there. The new Crackdown game that just came out with the Terry Crews commercials and the character in it, that's on there the day one it launched. Like they're not holding back any games from this service. So that's really cool. But the big thing is they're looking at putting this on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, weird.
And that would use their cloud servers to play the games, and it would render the feedback to you almost instantaneously. So you'd be playing a game on your Switch that's just on an Xbox server back to that, which I think would be wild.
Yeah, that is wild. First of all, the whole concept of streaming games is like new to me. I believe you sent me a text maybe like a week ago that said Google was launching their service. Yeah. And I had like the dumbest like old man subscription. I was like, so are you telling me I can go to like google.com/video games and click on a video game and just start playing it? And you're like, yep, that's about right. And I was like, what? And then I didn't even know this was already happening on video game consoles. Yeah, the weirdest thing would be like that Microsoft would team up with Nintendo. But I guess one thing that I do know about Nintendo is they've always been far behind on this online gameplay. So like maybe I guess if Microsoft showed up and said, hey, we got all these servers ready to go, you're not going to have to build all this infrastructure and like hire these people to manage this. We already got it going. Just put your video games on it, and you'll be good to go.
And what I like is, Xbox, the Game Pass has a bunch of games already. Like, you don't have to worry about all those making the games. And the problem with my Switch is I don't have enough games I want to play on it that are going to entertain me for a long period of time. So I'm really excited to see this with the Xbox games because they're already, there's hundreds of games on there already.
And there is a smart thing about this. I should not consider myself a video game expert at all since my playing hours have dramatically dropped. But as far as I've known, every time there's a new like Nintendo console, it always seems to be paired in somebody's home with either a PlayStation or an Xbox. It almost seems to be that secondary console that people want to own so they can play their Nintendo properties, but also they have a higher end console so they can play like their first person shooters or like these crazy new exclusive on these bigger consoles. So it would kind of make sense where like Nintendo, maybe they wouldn't really care too much because they're like, well, we're not really competing with each other so much as like we go good together. But yeah, that would be wild. Like two video game companies like teaming up under one banner. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, so I think it would still be called Xbox Game Pass because Microsoft renamed their Microsoft Game Studios to Xbox Game Studios this year as well. And it's just one of the things like Microsoft is open to cross-platform play. Nintendo is open to cross-platform play. You can play Minecraft on both of those already with each other. But PlayStation is the holdout, so they are not going to jump on this at all, which I would love to see one day, like playing doing the PlayStation Now games on my Xbox or my back and forth. I would love to see it eventually reach that peak, but I don't think we will.
Minecraft is like this generation's like Angry Birds. You know how Angry Birds was like on every video game console, like, don't worry, we got Angry Birds. Buy this weird like startup console that I'm trying to get going on Indiegogo because you'll be able to get Angry Birds on it. Now it's like, as long as it can run Minecraft, but Microsoft owns Minecraft now, so.
Well, I think you're a little bit behind. Minecraft is out. Fortnite's in, Mike. If it can play Fortnite, you're good
I think
to go.
Fortnite's technically out now. What's the new one that's taken over for Fortnite?
You're trying to say Apex Legends?
Yeah, that's what I was told. Apex Legends is the new Fortnite.
For 2 weeks, I can't say it is at all. But I played both. They're if you like Call of Duty, you like Apex Legends, and if people are listening to me, they already know that. But Fortnite I like playing online with people more because you have 4 people in your group rather than 3. But it's either here or there. I think the idea of cross, like, so for someone like you, I always think of you first, Mike, because I'm like, Mike, you're not a hardcore video gamer.
Not anymore. Back in the day,
if you had access to a lot of video games at once, you'd be a much happier person.
Yeah, before we started recording the show, I'm about to wrap up Bloodborne soon. I like games that I can just like easily pick up really quick, make a little bit of progress either on my character in the game, and then like put it down. It's hard for me to dedicate large blocks of time to any game. I like build up my progress through small chunks of time. So yeah, I'll be looking for something soon.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And so I think that was really cool from my point of view, but. Anyway, Mike, what's going on TV tonight?
So PSA out there for everybody. More than likely you're listening to this podcast after the Oscars are wrapped up. So you might already know if any of these movies that we've been talking about for the past year have been winners or not. But keep a lookout in case you grabbed this before, or maybe you're one of those weird people that like DVR the Oscars like a football or basketball game. And they're like, no, don't tell me who won. I'm watching it like tomorrow night or something like that. But look out for Black Panther, Infinity War, Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse is the favorite by a long shot. I would say out of almost all of the categories in the Oscars this year, like Spider-Verse is probably your best bet if you had to put money down on any category. I think it's almost a shoo-in, like 99.9%. I would be shocked if it didn't win Best Animated Feature. So I wouldn't worry too much about Spider-Verse. Infinity War, we're not really sure who's going to win the best special effects.
VFX is such a toss-up on what they're looking at and what they're doing. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, especially when you have to think about the Academy, the voters. Like, I think the favorite right now might be First Man, which is that, was it Apollo 11 mission? That space Ryan mission?
Gosling movie.
Yeah. And, that's like a space historical movie that probably a ton of the Academy has seen. They're probably going to be like, oh, yeah, that space shuttle did look really good. I'll give that the award. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it, but Infinity War, it's got a little bit more to go there in that category. But the dark horse, no pun intended, for Best Picture could be Black Panther, just because that category for Best Picture is ranked choice voting. So it all has to deal with who kind of gets the most votes in relation to like what ranked their place in the voters' mind. So the Best Picture is like the best movie that kind of everybody can agree on, not necessarily who got the most number one votes. So, if like some of the Academy voters are just like, no, I don't like Netflix, I'm definitely not voting for Roma. Or if they're just kind of like, oh, well, Green Book was kind of like a safe pick, but I don't really know if that's something that I think needs to be number one. But like if enough people in the Academy put Black Panther for maybe their number 2 or their number 3 slot, and the number 1 spot kind of gets really divisive, we might see Black Panther as Best Picture. It's not impossible. So that would be really, really crazy if Black Panther pulls out. So keep a lookout for that, because that would be huge. I'm sure we would wake up Monday morning to a lot of like pissed off movie fans, because Black Panther was like, it's a big blockbuster movie, it didn't really have the same type of formula most Best Picture winners have. It doesn't have like the emotional, like really small town, I don't know, farmer whose land dried up and then he had to like go kill his dog or something like that. It has a different DNA in it. But that would be crazy. That would be nuts if Black Panther won Best Picture. So all I'm saying is it's a possibility, and it would be nuts if it happened.
Yeah, it totally is. But there's been enough controversy around the Oscars and Academy Awards this year that what's another one if it wins?
Yeah, that's true.
Been up in arms,
I mean, they're trying to always get more people to watch the Oscars. If Black Panther won, can you imagine how many people would be talking about the Oscars for the next couple of days? I mean, that's what they want.
Yeah, or would it like prompt studios to make better superhero movies at the end of the day? Like, look, we now have a chance. We could actually get awards in our belt. And I don't know what that means for anybody, because that doesn't necessarily translate to box office dollars, but maybe it could be something. I don't know. Make somebody feel better. But yeah, that's tonight. It's in my time, it's in 2 hours. It starts in 2 hours. Is the Best Picture, is that the last one they do?
Yeah, that's always the last one.
Yeah, of course they would. All right. Well, in that case, Mike, let's jump into the news here and get through this so I can go prep for my Academy Award viewing experience.
There you go.
It'll be background noise. I am proud to say, within 1 week, I finished The Umbrella Academy.
Congratulations. Here's my golf clap for you, Chris.
And I don't even have Netflix, Mike, so take that. I watched the first episode last week, and my wife caught the last 15 minutes with me, and then she had to so we rewatched episode 1, and then she's like, I can't not think about this show. We need to watch more. Mm-hmm. And then, before you know it, we watched all 10 of them, Mike, and if that tells you anything, I think it's a good show. What did you think of The Umbrella Academy? Spoiler free, of course.
Yeah, it sounds like we're planning on possibly doing a spoiler cast for The Umbrella Academy next week, possibly. So if you're unlike us that have like more important things to do than sit down and stream a comic book TV show as quickly as possible, you still got this week to watch it, and then you can tune into our spoiler cast here soon. But spoiler free, I'd have to say I really loved it. It was really fun. It's really weird and wacky and kind of out there. It's still very approachable, but they throw lots of things in this show that you think on paper would not work. You're like, you got a superhero show. Okay, that's cool. Okay, they're all a bunch of misfits, and like, oh, wait a minute, you want to throw that in there? Wait, that's this person's power? Mm-hmm. It's like, wait, really? That's how this person's going to look? And so it's really crazy. You don't really know where it's going to go. Yeah, I'm craving a season 2. I'm pretty sure it's going to get one. I would be shocked if it didn't get one. I loved all the characters. I think I talked last week about this character named Klaus, who is who was also in Misfits a few years back. I love that guy. He's just so fun to watch on screen. I get excited every time we get to see him do or interact with anybody or anything. It's really great. Obviously, they're all super powered, so it's fun to kind of learn about their powers throughout the show. There's obviously mystery involved, so you get to learn the mystery of these different episodes. There's some parts that I think were weak that we can probably talk about, next week more in detail. But overall, I dug everything about it, and it's a strong recommend.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, if the first episode doesn't hook you, the rest of it won't do you any justice either. But that first episode will hook you. I will tell you, the effects are great. And this, if you've read the book, this does not follow the book at all. You will be guessing the whole way through, pretty much, by the end of this, because there's a lot of variations on the source material, but it's done in a way better fashion. Mm-hmm. I will also say there are 7 children in this show, or in the Umbrella Academy. 5 is my favorite, probably. I'm pretty close with
five.
Klaus.
Five what? Five what? Man, it's weird. Like, I'm trying to remember who 5 was without spoiling. It was the
who he is, yeah.
It was the kid. Well, they're all kids at one point in time, but it's the kid with the dark hair.
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of like okay, I remember who he is now, because they're all sometimes they call them by their names, sometimes they call them by their numbers, but yeah, he was great.
He actually never had a name, I'm pretty sure. So
I think you're right. Really a good descriptive thing that I could have said that won't spoil anything was the mannequin guy.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
You'll know exactly what it is. The characters, you like them. There are a couple episodes in the middle that blew my mind on how they were able to pull them off, especially for I mean, I don't think Netflix is a low budget thing, but for Netflix, this could have been a movie, and I would have watched it. Like a movie series, and I would like to see more as well. And my boss actually, she's been out of town for a couple weeks. She came and said, she's like, I saw the first episode of the show, or the first half of it, called The Umbrella Academy, and I thought of you. And I'm like, I'm already way beyond you, but yes. So she was actually going to sit down and watch it this weekend as well, while her kids were somewhere else. So she was very excited about it. People who are not comic book people are coming out of the woodwork to watch this show. And if we know anything about how Netflix chooses their shows, and we'll talk about that in a minute, is based on viewership, and it sounds like it's getting tons and tons of viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I loved all the performances for the most part. Even like the antagonists had enough time to kind of develop their character, and you really kind of felt for them by the end of it. Mm-hmm. And I gotta cut myself off there. Or I feel like I'm going to spoil something, but great show.
I will say something you see in the trailer is we get a very convincing looking live action talking monkey in a suit throughout the whole show. Like they use him when they need to, because I mean there's a bunch of characters they got to juggle all the time, but not once did I not think he was there or believable.
Yeah, so. It was beautiful, and I think also the budget helped that all as well. But I think the technology for rendering CG characters in general is getting more and more affordable. So I think maybe we'll see more stuff like that in the future, which is really great.
And Mike got to see the reveal for number 1 as well. So,
yeah, we did briefly talk about that last week.
You can see the hulking body.
Yeah, you can see all the promos. There is this one guy that's very, very big, and you just want to know what's under his shirt. And then when I saw it, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, exactly. So Mike was very much he got what he wanted.
Yeah, and what you see doesn't even get explained until later in the series. So you're just looking at it and like, "Wait, why?" Yeah, and no one's really questioning it, and you're just like, "What's going on?"
They do like the flashbacks throughout the whole show, so you learn about the kids' abilities like when they're kids and adults, and it's great. You love all the characters. You get so much time with them. So without saying anything else, I think that's a big, strong recommend from us. If you get a chance to watch the first episode on Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, they canceled Jessica Jones and The Punisher. Jessica Jones season 3 hasn't even aired yet, but it will air. But they have officially knocked them off their docket for any further shows. Enough to even make Eminem tweet about it.
Yeah, I was about to say Eminem's getting pissed off, and I even saw John Bernthal, I guess, replied to him back, proclaiming him as king. So I haven't got around to watching the second season of Punisher. I'm sure it's great. The first season was really, really good. But honestly, it's really hard for me to commit myself to these Netflix shows anymore, especially since I know they're not really going anywhere. And Jessica Jones may be the only one out of all of these Netflix shows that got canceled that might have a satisfying series finale, because it was much later in the production. So maybe they had a chance to pivot. So the last episode might be a nice closing. I know there's a bunch of rumors out there of, people trying to save these shows. I mean, I'm not 100% sure if that's going to happen. So I don't know. Maybe one day if I'm bored and got nothing else to do, I'll pop in Daredevil, finish up that season. I think I might check out Jessica Jones just because it's been one of the stronger of the seasons, and I'm already two seasons committed. And
it's already got three. It's one of the two that got three. So I mean, I feel confident in there, and there's no rush to watch it either, which is great.
Exactly.
And I also, I don't know if I told you this, I got the first 2 seasons of Daredevil on Blu-ray for Christmas. So I may be adding these to my physical collection as well, and going that route, since I don't have Netflix anymore.
Chris the completionist over there.
Yeah, very much so. I got to check those boxes off. But the rumor is FX or Hulu, which will be owned by Disney when we're all said and done, could save these shows, because I read, not to beat a dead horse, but again, I read this week that the reason they were canceled was Netflix bases their shows off viewership, which based on their marketing, they weren't gonna push a whole lot of viewers on these shows, and the licensing fees, they don't own Netflix doesn't own the characters, or I think they own the shows about the characters. So they had to license them through Marvel, and their prices were just not a good return on investment at this rate. So that's kind of what it is. So there may be a stipulation you can't have them for you can't do anything with these for X amount of months or whatever, and they could come back on these and just pick them up where they want. But I've said this before, I don't need them in my Marvel Cinematic. I don't need them in my connected universe, because nothing they did connected to the larger picture. I would much rather, as the TV presence dwindles down on Marvel TV, it's about to explode on Disney Plus and give us those really tightly connected shows to the larger movie universe, which is handled by Kevin Feige, as we'll talk about.
Well, and also one thing that I think about is these are very kind of dramatic superhero shows, and you could reference maybe the CW to say, oh, look how long those shows have run, but I just feel like there's not a whole lot of track left on these shows without giving them a lot more properties that they can hook onto, like throwing in brand new throwing in characters that we're familiar with, letting them expand throughout the MCU, kind of bringing them back through the breathe new life. But Disney, that's not in their best interest to prop up their competitor Netflix, even if it might give them cash, because I think we said on the show maybe a month or two ago how much money Disney actually was leaving on the table by not letting Netflix have all of these Disney shows that they could stream. They're going all in on their own service, so it's not surprising that they're not gonna help those shows flower. But I mean, Hulu's a big question mark, because Netflix does have a stake in Hulu, so I'm not really sure what's gonna go on there.
Netflix has a stake in Hulu?
I mean Disney, sorry.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, well, Disney will own all of FX and Hulu when it's all said and done. So they could, if they get the rights, hey, maybe we can air them, or what's the phrase I'm looking for here?
Rebroadcast them or something.
Yeah, syndicate them.
I don't think it would work well on FX, just because these shows have totally different time pass. Sometimes they run 60 minutes. Where do you put the commercials in to throw it up on FX?
Unless it's one of their FX has 3 channels. Maybe they put on one that doesn't have any commercials.
Or they think they have a streaming option too. Maybe they'll just put it there.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I'm sad they're canceled, but they needed to also maybe dive into the crazy a little bit more, the not so serious dark alley / hallway beat 'em up scenes, and get a little wilder at the end of the day, because even the MCU has embraced its cosmic and unnatural roots a little bit more, and that's what made it more fun and more enjoyable, and a little more, I guess, not predictable at the end of the day, because some of these MCU shows are very predictable. You can see everything coming a mile away on Netflix.
Don't say that to the Daredevil fans, because they are out there in Times Square trying to get that show back.
Yeah, there are people, I don't know who has the money for this, but there's a Daredevil thing in Times Square, a billboard hashtag Save Daredevil. There's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 actually rotating digital billboards out there right now, and they have a big tall banner that says Save Daredevil. I think there's actually Matt Murdock, Daredevil, Wilson Fisk, I think, and a couple other people, and then some quotes from it at the bottom. So if you got the time and money to save Daredevil, this is what they want to do. But to what end?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take it too seriously, because I think I saw whoever made those billboards. I think I saw the official Instagram post of them reacting to it, and I think they were only able to buy like a couple seconds of time on those rotating banners. So I don't think it's any sort of like huge investment. But I mean, yeah, it is kind of weird, because like when a network show gets canceled, everyone just assumes that like, oh, maybe someone else will save it. Amazon saves The Expanse, NBC saves Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but we don't really know what happens when a streaming show gets canceled, because usually it's the streaming service that would save it. So it is kind of weird. You're in weird territory that you don't really know what to do. I guess, like, are you trying to appeal to Netflix to try to tell them to make more because that ain't happening? Are you just trying to let Disney know that they should put Charlie Cox back up on the screen? But I mean, I've seen reports of like Mike Coulter, who's got signed on to some sort of like network drama, and some of these other actors are signing things, so they're all moving on, getting work. So maybe we need to also.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't know at the end of the day. This is just one of those things. Like, if I would love to see a Daredevil more ingrained in the MCU than the one we have currently in iteration. So, if Disney Plus is going to bring back a better Defenders show with characters that actually are, connected to these events rather than just referencing, quote unquote, the incident or the Sokovia Accords. Like, yeah, please do that, please, a little bit. I would love to see that. Like,
imagine a storyline where, like, it seems like we might be getting a secret invasion at some point in the MCU where, these Skrulls have invaded Earth. Imagine if there was, like, a rogue Skrull that just, like, didn't want to do what all the other Skrulls were doing. He was just trying to make his own kind of, like, sliver of Earth his own. Maybe he was, like, a Skrull mobster, and, like, there's a new Daredevil that's trying to go after this Skrull. So, like, and, like, one of the you're watching this episode where you think he's about to like take on this big baddie, then bam, all of a sudden fucking turns into an alien. Now Matt Murdock has to figure out how to fight an alien. Like, that would be crazy. That's like a cool storyline that you might see in a comic book, so that's what we want to see.
And I don't need Spider-Man swinging into my Disney Plus shows. I don't need the crossovers to make it work. Like, those larger event stories like you just mentioned are enough for me to make it feel like, oh, this is actually going on. And they can probably schedule them out better that way. So they can maybe even, like, if they did a team up that was responding to the event going on in the movies at the same time, would be awesome. Like what if we had, like, I mean, we can't do it now, but like, what if we had, like, right now all the shows only had half the people in the world, like, and that was going on in between Endgame and Infinity War. Like, wouldn't that be much more realistic and feel better about all the shows if they could do that at the same time? So, yeah, I like the shows on Netflix, but we do not need to save them.
They were good for the time that we had them, and they were great. And I think it's just time to move on, because if they're renewed, it's going to be 2 more years, and we're already going to be 2 more years into these superhero cinematic universes. Endgame's going to be come and gone. Like, Warner Brothers is going to be like kicking up their Batman movies. We're just going to be in like this whole new ball game, and it's just like, is anybody really going to care about that version of Daredevil in a couple years? I don't think so.
I don't even care now. So, there we go. Boom. Roasted. But speaking of the MCU, in Phase 4, Kevin Feige has said that no Phase 4 plans will be announced until after Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home are in theaters. So that makes me think Far From Home may have a larger place than we think it does right now, Mike.
That leaves me craving the post-credit scene right there. Ooh.
That, or just the events in general. I mean, they may be showing us very early footage, still like in the movie. And maybe Mysterio's a larger thing than we think, or the world's in a different place than we think it is.
Yeah, I mean, we saw those elementals in the trailer for Far From Home, and I don't think anybody out there has quite questioned what's making these elementals. Like, that's a pretty big, like, kind of science fiction-esque enemy there. Like, how do you explain that? How do you explain these things being able to turn into, like, water or rock or air or fire or whatever they end up being? Like, how do you explain that? Like, and also Mysterio, where does he get those powers? That could really be leading into what we're looking at for the next, phase. Maybe those elementals maybe they're freaking mutants. Maybe that's our intro to what mutants are. Maybe if mutants are brand new to the Earth, to the globe, maybe like our first few mutants are a little bit more, they're a little bit more proto. They're a little bit more rough around the edges. They're just straight up lava monsters. And maybe the next few generations of mutants after Spider-Man are a little bit more refined, and maybe we'll finally, get like, an actual humanoid. So that could be a possibility.
Yeah. Or it could be even like less dramatic and be like, oh, this is in an alternate universe, or maybe this took place in the Soul Stone world or something that's entirely off the board.
Maybe it's a Skrull experimentation. Who knows? Yeah,
there's a bunch that we just don't know, and we're not going to get answers until, I'm thinking July, Mike. I'm thinking San Diego Comic-Con. We're going to be... That episode's going to be so lit because we will have been there in person.
And I didn't realize this. This is the 50th anniversary of Comic-Con. So
oh my God, that's amazing.
That's a big time.
It is. Also, Kevin Feige said there is no mandate in their contracts to make more than 2 films a year, but if they have good stories and everything lines up, they more than certainly will.
Sounds par of the course.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, next year is really sad because we only get 2 films, and we're spoiled on 3 right now. So taking that step back is going to be hard, but I think the quality might get better. I don't know. I think the addition of the mutants and the I think there may be stuff they're not announcing they're working on, Mike. Like that would be the killer thing in July. Like, hey, we're starting production of Fantastic Four tomorrow.
Yeah, here
are your characters.
Yeah, here's the cast.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. He also came out of his Feige hole to say that there is the Black Widow film will not be R-rated.
Not surprised.
Really not surprised at all. Like everyone kind of ran with that to begin with, and like that's it. But does that mean the film is now confirmed because he said Black Widow is not R-rated, or is it just more like any movie we'll make will not be R-rated kind of thing?
It seems like the trains are already moving on Black Widow. They've already kind of made statements, talked about things they'd like to do. I guess no confirmation. It would be so weird if there wasn't a Black Widow movie now after all the talk around it,
If they canceled it at this rate, they will. I mean, they're still in the window to cancel it, but it sounds like, look, we're going to get this up by May next year. We're going to have a script done by this May. We'll film over the summer, and boom, we'll be good to go. So I think that's our big one. Our big one for May to get it done, because it's probably very not special effects heavy. And I still think Eternals is the one in November. Also, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which was that movie next year that was taken off the plate. Kevin Feige did confirm, as we heard a billion times, James Gunn's script will be used for this movie. Yeah. So
we all know my opinion on that. I went on a rant last time we talked about it, so I'll save everybody my angry rant this time. So
yes, but yes, we have this. We're probably not going to bring this up again unless the script leaks online, and then we go over it. But that's really about the extent of it. I think everyone will be happy about it. I think the longest wait is going to be finding someone willing to direct it at this point. So they might be working on it. They could go ask James Cameron. He'll direct anything.
That would be crazy. James Cameron on Guardians 3.
James Cameron's Guardians 3.
Wow.
And it's got Alien and Terminator crossovers in it and everything. It just...
Who's the director? I feel like for the last decade, everyone's been pitching for the next superhero movie. He did Kick-Ass and Kingsman.
Oh, Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn, yeah. I feel like his name's probably gonna pop up at some point in time.
He was highly rumored. Well, he did X-Men.
First Class, right?
Yeah, I think, and then he was also rumored for Superman for a while. So he could. They could. What if they got the guy who did Scott Pilgrim? And he was originally
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright, yeah. They brought, like, can you come do this? No, remember he said James Gunn, so that'd be funny. Captain Marvel is less than 2 weeks away. I cannot believe this. This is sneaking up on me, Mike. Like
yes,
this movie,
very much so,
coming in here, but it's being review bombed on Rotten Tomatoes by misogynists and their ilk right now.
Oh my God,
it's like sitting at like 50%, and the movie's not even out. Like no one's seen it, and like, but that's audience score, not critic score.
Did the same thing happen to Wonder Woman?
No, Black Panther had the same thing happen.
Oh my gosh, what is wrong with you people? Like, people are just jerks.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go find it, but like I never see, unless I select it, and I'm not logged in right now. Like, you don't see the audience score right away, so like that's always a plus. Like, yeah, this isn't really gonna help a lot of people. Like, the average moviegoer is just gonna see.
And the only real reason it's making news right now is just because if you get there early enough before any of the real reviews come in, you can kind of make a little bit of a splash. You can be like, oh, look at what we did. There's enough of us that organized that we were able to shit on this movie that we haven't even seen yet, and we're only doing it because it's a female-led movie and we're just really gross and disgusting people. But I would safely assume that this will all get washed away once all the real reviews come in, because I would assume, I'm not sure on the statistics, but I would think all Rotten Tomato movies don't get the same number of reviews based on their popularity, but this is going to be an extremely popular movie. It'll get reviewed in waves and waves of people, whether it's positive or not. I'm sure it will be statistically significant enough to drown out any of these trolls, so it sucks, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think Zachary Levi made some sort of post out there because they were trying to pull his movie into it, saying he's the only like Captain Marvel that should be out there. Yeah. You know, he's like a man and everything. And I think he responded, it's like, no, you're all jerks. Like, knock it off. This is stupid. So I'm glad at least he's out there batting for Brie Larson. So yeah, it seems like I might see this movie out of spite now.
I might
twice.
see it twice now. Yeah, exactly. We're going to go several times. Actually, I'm very excited for this movie. It's also got a cat in it. I'm a cat person. And then to celebrate Love Your Pet Day this week, Marvel put up a live stream of the cat who played Goose the Cat just doing cat shit all over like this little space.
Oh, was that the source of the video that you made with your cat? Were you watching it with your cat?
So I sent this video to my wife, and then she took a video of the cat on the screen, but my orange cat was intently watching the hell out of this other orange cat. She was like, "Oh, I found who I want to be."
I'm clicking through the live stream right now. This is great. It's just like Goose is just like sitting in a little cat bed.
They got a green screen behind the bed too, and they keep doing that.
This is really great. I'm just like clicking through it. Oh my God! If you go to the 41-minute mark, Sam Jackson just comes in and pets the cat. This is great.
He goes and picks it up because it like ran over to the edge. He brings it back in and sets it down. Like this was the best feed ever.
Yeah, I was just like, is that just like did a boom operator or somebody come in, like, or a camera to fix like I was like, no, that's Sam Jackson just hanging out. Like, so I would imagine maybe this is an Atlanta studio, or maybe Sam Jackson is just in town. But this is hilarious. This is great. Oh, what a nice cat. I'm just watching him pet the cat. This is great, Chris. Podcast over. I'm just gonna watch this for the next.
Yeah, pretty much. And this cat is like so chill too. Like, they get a laser pointer to keep bringing him back to the bed for the green screen stuff. And you could have voted on what the background was using scenes from the movie. My wife put it on and my cat stared at it all day. I have another picture of my other cat. She jumped onto the TV stand to look at the cat. Like, she was very excited.
Oh my gosh! So like, there's a cat in this box in our house. I'm just gonna stare at it.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, this cat's a superhero. I can be a superhero now too. So even cats see them. So I think the other video was really, really fun and kind of clever for Marvel to do something like that with the cat. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought they had already done this. They are now just starting season 7 filming. I thought they did 6 and 7 back to back. Apparently not. So 7 has started filming, which means, you know, we say about a year out, but what if they drop it in the spring or like the January season rather than make us wait a whole year or even sooner?
I mean, it could be possible because these are basically, they're calling them seasons 6 and 7, but I mean, if you were kind of to compare it to the rest of the series, it's just the next season like split in half. So I guess maybe they just kind of split their production in half. We'll do one, I'll put quotes around the word season, one season here and then one season there. So, but it makes sense to kind of break it up. It wouldn't be the first show that does that. I know South Park, they kind of, They still consider it one season, but they do split it down the middle, kind of put the first half in one part of the year, the second half in the other part of the year. Yeah, they do. South Park does that. Absolutely.
They just do 10 episodes. That's it.
Well, then they're considering it either two seasons.
They're seasons.
If it's one season, there's definitely 2 seasons in a year. They don't wait a whole, 11 months to come out with it. You know, we're not going to do it now, but Chris, I know I'm right, damn it. I know I'm right.
I'm going to say you're wrong. So I'm not going to look it up right now either, but I guarantee you they only do 10 a year because they only go back into production once. And they do them in 1 week at a time. So, but either way, they're doing 13 episode seasons. Season 6 is in May. If season 7's filming now, when can that start airing? Like maybe this fall? Like, if it's only 13 episodes, that's not too bad, is it? Like, what's the usually TV turnaround on that? Like,
yeah, I mean, and it could possibly be the last season.
Yeah, I think they may try to push out. What if they do season 7 ends and the next day it's launched on Disney Plus, all the seasons?
Ooh, I mean, that's how they're gonna do whatever they can to get people there, you know.
And this directly interacts with the MCU way more than any of the Netflix shows. Like, even Sif was in an episode. Nick Fury is in an episode. We haven't anything that large in a while, but like still, like they this is in there, so they could do that. That'd be a great way. I still want to see awesome playlists on Disney Plus, like the MCU in chronological order. So you watch a movie and then a couple episodes of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then a movie and then Agent Carter, you know, kind of like that. Wouldn't that be?
Okay, Chris, I have to take this back to South Park just real quick. I had to Google it, and this is one of those situations where this happens to me and my wife a lot. We'll get into a disagreement over something to come to the conclusion that we were kind of both right, but maybe one of us was a little bit more right. So I just to bring this up, because yes, the more current seasons in the last couple of years have, yes, all indeed been one season a year. So Chris, I will bestow you the wand of righteousness, for you are right. But if you do go back just a couple of seasons, they used to do 14 episode seasons, and then they would air from March to April, and then they would take a long break, and then they would do October to November. So in the past, they have broken up larger chunks in half, but same year. So I will take half of that wand of righteousness, like maybe the chopstick of righteousness, and I will hold on to that.
I'll give you a third, because I watch South Park every year it comes out, and I know it's only 10 episodes the last 6 years. So I was very confident in my.
Well, I have not been paying attention, apparently.
No, it's fine, but that's cool. I mean, yeah. So anyway, but shorter episodes of S.H.I.E.L.D. could be here, could be later. Mike's favorite news this week, I think, is the Wolverine: The Lost Trail, which is the follow-up to the Long Night podcast, is launching next month, March 25th.
Yeah, and I don't know if they drop them all at the same time on Stitcher Premium, or if it's a week-by-week basis.
I think the last one was weekly.
Yeah, but I think eventually it does come free to like iTunes and other services, and when that happens, that might be all at once. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, technically they could, because they got them all. You know, they have them in their pocket. They could just drop them all at once, and they're all free anyway, so you might as well. So I don't know if I'm going to wait until they're free or not. You know, this isn't a thing that I have to worry too much about spoilers about. I mean, the Long Night has been out there for a while now. I don't think anybody even knows about it, or it's been spoiled for them. So I don't think you have to worry about rushing to it, but I'm looking forward to it. I listened to the little kind of audio trailer of it, and it sounds cool. It definitely picks up where the last one left off. So yeah, I love it. I love hearing somebody else play Wolverine, kind of diving into a different version of the character. They do audibly describe Wolverine as a person, as a human character in the podcast, and they do say he's short, he's built like he's dense, he's like this little tough guy. So you're getting a very authentic Wolverine from the comic books in this podcast. So yeah, go out there, listen to the first season, The Long Night, and then gear up for this second one. I'm excited, Chris.
There you go. It'll be out in just in time for summer, when you have the littlest amount of night possible.
Yeah, that was my recommendation last week, to kind of fit the tone of the show. Listen to it at night on your commute home, but maybe I'll just have to start leaving work later when the sun's down to listen to it.
Thankfully, this one's not called The Lost Night. It's The Lost Trail, so you'll be good. I think you'll be okay this season.
I'll have to watch it in the bright morning. That'll be the only time I can watch it.
Yeah. Oh, God, this is Wolverine show's too bright for me to listen to. But anyway, speaking of Wolverine on that front, the X-Men movie franchise, Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart have received Guinness World Records for the longest career as a live-action Marvel superhero.
Wow.
With a total of 16 years, 228 days between the debut of X-Men 1, and I believe they ended in Logan. I don't know if they'll be in Dark Phoenix or not now, if they got this right before Dark Phoenix came out. So
yeah, maybe.
Or since this was very close to, like, this is right after Dark Phoenix would have came out, maybe they were holding, like, waiting till maybe it's a spoiler.
Yeah,
maybe we'll find out later.
This is a very narrow Guinness World Record too, because I'm reading like your quotes here. It says longest career as a live action Marvel superhero. So it just seems like they're kind of saying, well, there's a DC character out there, too, that could get this in a different category. Or if it's just not superhero in general, it could just be any like movie character. I wonder what that person is. But good for them. They've put in their work for sure.
Mm-hmm. And like those two, Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman, are synonymous with those characters. Oh yeah.
One of the great all-time castings too. I wonder if their longevity has also come from the fact that it was just such good casting. They just really nailed it.
Yeah, I honestly don't know, but they've only gotten better too. I think like Wolverine started off okay looking like for 2000s movie, but by the end he was like the Wolverine in the Wolverine movie. He looked really good, and I really appreciated that. So that's good. I think Samuel L. Jackson came out like the day after. He's like, oh, I want to beat that. So I think we might be seeing him, Robert Downey Jr., in some Marvel Cinematic Universe awards coming up later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's fun. Guinness added some fun categories, things you would normally just look up on Wikipedia. But there you go. Alita Battle Angel opened up to over 64 million in China, pushing this well over 250 million total. It's the largest opening for Fox over there as well. Like we said, China is eating this movie up right now. Like they are just loving it to death, Mike. So yeah, I think that we're a step closer to a sequel. And yeah. I think one of our Twitter followers, Chris Kidman, the Nerd Hollow News, said that the sequel might be called Alita Fallen Angel instead of Battle Angel.
Oh, that's a clever title. I like that.
Yeah, that may also be one of the book names. I think like one of the manga names or something like that. But I want to drop some fun facts for you on Alita right now. The cinematographer for Alita is Bill Pope, who has done cult films like Army of Darkness, Blank Check,
all right,
Clueless, then went straight to The Matrix.
Wow.
Then Spider-Man 2.
All right.
Immediately after that was Team America.
Oh, okay.
Then he did Scott Pilgrim later on in his life.
Oh, love that movie.
Yeah. Then he did The Jungle Book for Disney.
Uh-huh.
And then did Baby Driver, and then the Kid Who Would Be King, which came out in January.
Wow.
And then Alita Battle Angel. This guy is all over the place.
That is a storied career. That's somebody that you need to get on a podcast and interview. That's somebody you really want to hear stories from. He has been involved in a lot. Wow.
How did you go from Clueless to The Matrix? Like, Clueless is like I don't think about cinematography at all in that movie. And then immediately, The Matrix is the most cinematographic movie in the 99, I think.
He was the cinematographer on one of my favorite adulthood films and one of my favorite childhood films, Scott Pilgrim and Blank Check. I love Blank Check.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I don't think about the I don't think about the cinematography in that movie at all, but that's cool.
Yeah, so Bill Pope. I mean, he had other movies. He did The Spirit. I don't know if you remember The Spirit.
Yeah, that was kind of the Sin City kind of esque film.
Yeah. I think Frank Miller did that one as well. Men in Black 3, Spider-Man 3, the Matrix sequels that we don't talk about. He's just The World's End. I mean, he's been with Edgar Wright on a lot of his movies lately. So this guy's all over the place, and I just had to look him up because I'm like, no one looks up the cinematographer on a movie. And God, I'm so glad I did on this one. I will tell you that right now. So there you go. There's your fun fact for Alita Battle Angel, Mike.
All right.
Let's jump into Star Wars news, which we don't have a lot of lately, and that's making me nervous.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that dumb tweet from like 2 weeks ago that was like, something's coming soon, and I was just like looking at my watch. I was like, that was half a calendar month ago. Yeah, Where the hell is this trailer? That's
been so far in our show notes. Mike's forgotten we even talked about it, I think. Yeah. So, but the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is in works for Disney Plus now rather than a movie. The movie, good things were said about the script in this movie. People were excited, but the low return, I think, on maybe Solo kind of soured everyone to spin-offs. And
I could
Star
see
Wars,
that.
We were very burnt out for Star Wars in like a 5-month period. But this could span up to 6 episodes instead with Ewan McGregor in the role, which I would be okay with this if this is the way they have to go instead of a movie.
This is kind of an interesting strategy I'm starting to see that Disney Plus might be doing. I don't know if their episode count is maybe going to evolve over the life of the streaming service. But it seems like if you're a brand new streaming service on the block, you're not the new kid, you're not the newest kid or the first kid on the street like Netflix was, Hulu a little bit after, Amazon Prime a little after that. You got a lot of groundwork to make up. So maybe their strategy is, hey, the number of episodes that we make isn't as important as we need to just make the best possible single episodes we can make. So we're going to make these series like Loki, Scarlet Witch, the bounty hunter movie. I already forgot the
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. Let's do low episode counts, cram money into each episode, so they're basically like Game of Thrones episode level, and just so when we release it, people are just watching these incredibly high level series, and then bam, they want to subscribe to Disney Plus. We're just really hitting them over the head with premium quality stuff, even though you could probably just binge it in a day basically, and then you're done with it. So I would wonder if maybe that would evolve over time, because in a streaming service, you want your return on investment. You want to be able to dive in there and watch for hours and hours and hours. So maybe these first few Disney streaming shows like the Star Wars and the Marvels will be like 6 episodes, but maybe about a year, 2, 3 in, maybe they'll evolve to like the 10, 13 episode mark.
Mandalorian is 10 episodes already.
Oh, okay. So that's good. That's closer.
Like if they can get 10 episode series in the quality of Umbrella Academy every time, I'm on board. Mm-hmm. I mean, that I think that's makes sense. But also, you have to think about the library of Disney, adding on the Fox and licensing other movies. Like, I think they're going to release these shows every week to keep people coming back, rather than the drop everything at once like Netflix does. Because, like you said, the retention is going to be huge. So I think maybe if they do like, we have a 4 to 6 week Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. Come join us this month. You get like a month free trial or a week free trial. You're hooked. Yeah. You got to come back and keep it going.
Yeah, so. I actually don't mind that. I think some shows work great when they're all dumped at once. I actually don't mind the week by week watching, because it doesn't really remind me of cable at all. Commercials remind me of cable, so they can do whatever they want as long as there's not a single lick of a commercial in there. And also the week by week viewing is a little bit more exciting, because you can go into the office the next day, or if you're, you can go into class the next day and you can talk to your friends or coworkers about, oh, did you watch that episode of The Mandalorian last night? That was crazy. Like, I can't really do that with the Umbrella Academy. I haven't gotten around to watching Russian Doll yet on Netflix, but some people around my office are talking about that, and I have to like close my ears and run away because I haven't even watched one episode yet. So there are pros to the week by week approach for sure.
I like the scheduling of it, because sometimes it's hard for me and my wife to sit down and do like, hey, we need to watch like 3 episodes. I'm like, I don't know if I do that, but like we're doing one a week. Like, that's much easier on us. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do miss the scheduling. I don't miss the commercials. I agree with you there. Production is also launched on an unrevealed Star Wars TV series in the UK.
Ooh.
It's called Series 3 Productions Limited. No one knows what it is. But they're already starting production. Whether that's like set building or what, I don't know. But it's likely to be revealed at Star Wars Celebration in April. No guesses on what this is. Like I literally have no guesses on what this could be.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking, maybe they're trying to move those. Maybe they're trying to remove that Rian Johnson development deal from the big screen to the smaller streaming screen. But it seems like this might be something totally different than that.
It is. Well, Rian Johnson also, like last week, maybe he went online and was like, yeah, my movies are still happening, and so are the Game of Thrones guys.
Yeah, I believe they've kind of reversed the order of them, though, because I don't think it was ever official what order that they were going to come out, but I think everyone thought Rian Johnson's were going to come first, and then what's their name, Benioff, the Benioff guys, or one of them is, or maybe one of them is named Benioff, because they're not brothers, are they? I thought
no.
Okay, no. One of them's named Benioff and Weiss, or Weiss
is what I think it is.
Yeah, Benioff and Weiss, and I think everybody thought those were going to come after, or maybe they would alternate, like, it'd be like wedged one in between the other. But I think the possible like Knights of the Old Republic one might come first, if that's indeed what they're doing, and then Rian Johnson. But
well, I don't have any word on that because I haven't seen anything on that. But I would think Johnson, I think, is probably farther in pre-production than the other ones, because they're still wrapping up Game of Thrones, and it being the final season with 6 or 8 movie-length episodes. Like that's a lot riding on the end of that series. So they may not have even thought about Star Wars yet. Like, yeah, we'll get to it here in a minute. But either way, this is not any of the announced stuff so far, so I have no idea what would it be.
What would you want, Chris? Anything out of the Star Wars universe? Because really, if it's going to be limited, maybe similar to Obi-Wan, it seems like it's going to be from 6 to 10 episodes. At least we can kind of say that. What one thing would you want expanded? Like, just pick a character, pick an idea, an object in the Star Wars universe. What show would you watch?
I honestly I don't know. Like I'm literally at a loss for it. I don't want anything like. If anything, I would like a Jedi-filled show for once, because we don't have any Jedi-filled shows other than the animated Clone Wars coming out later this year. But I mean, what do I do? Maybe I want something newer in the new timeline post whatever the episode 9 is.
Know what I want to know more about? I have always been just infatuated with lightsabers. I want to know the history behind how you make them, who builds them, the crystals that are involved with it. I think they explored some of this stuff in the animated series, like Jedi temples and whatnot. But I don't know. Give me like an apprenticeship of like somebody trying to like make their lightsaber or something like that. I love lightsabers. It's like if you had to distill Star Wars down to its like most basic, like just like flashy thing, it's the lightsaber. Give me a lightsaber show. I don't know what you
weapon.
Yeah, I don't know what you want to call it, what you want to do.
Is it a mockumentary like making lightsabers? Like it's one of those things where like we have like the Food Channel networks, but it's like one of those things where like behind the scenes, how do you make it? But really, there are there's a one Clone Wars episode. It might have been 3, maybe a 3-way, like a 3-episode thing deal. But they really go into that actually. Like I can shoot you that one over. Like you're gonna get a lot of questions answered.
Yeah. What would be kind of cool, since they did kind of bring up the idea of making items for war in the last Star Wars movie, about like, hey, we make it and we sell it to whoever wants it. Maybe somebody out there could be making like bootleg lightsabers or something like that, and some young Padawan has to go in and like shut down this rogue operation. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I just want more lightsabers.
Yeah, you need to watch this episode to learn more about lightsabers before you can do that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe put me on Canto Bite for 6 to 10 episodes. I'm like, I want to see the gambling life and the casino life, and maybe it's about someone behind, like a worker there who's just trying to catch up. And
Chris, I'm afraid you might be the only one that wants that.
I really don't want it, so it makes it better. Things I also don't want include the Avatar sequels.
Ooh, spicy take.
Yeah. Avatar films 2 and 3, per James Cameron, were shot back to back for digital motion capture. So they are completely done, and they have 5 months left of live action shooting. Just 5 total months And these movies take place years after the original one. Apparently, maybe the main characters have like a child together, and I don't know how fast kids grow and stuff in that world or whatever. But it sounds like we're not going to be picking up right where the first one left off. So that's good in my book, I guess.
Has visiting Pandora at Disney World not endeared you more to the property of Avatar?
No, not
nope, not at all.
If it had a good story, I might be enthralled. But I'm not watching Dances to Wolves on this Dances with Wolves on this alien planet or whatever. Pocahontas is not really doing it for me, Mike. I gotta see something original.
The sequel is just going to be some sort of weird rehash of like the Pinocchio story. Like what is going on here? He's remaking the Disney Cinematic Universe with avatars.
It's probably the Little Mermaid, because he always wants to go underwater in one of these movies. And
oh yeah, that's right.
They're gonna find this underwater civilization who wants to be humans, and like someone's building a machine to transfer their consciousness into human bodies.
And all the avatars underwater, for some reason, they're a singing culture, so they're always doing musical numbers.
And they're collecting all the remnants of the human colonists or mining colonists who were there, and that's all their doodads and thingamajiggers. And
oh yep, you're right.
I know, I'm calling this right now. And then the other one will be WALL-E in the future, when the robots are cleaning up the planet after they destroyed it. So we'll see. The Flash, the movie. Ezra Miller is talking about the Flash movie opening up the DC multiverse and the Speedster multiverses, which I know you're familiar with from watching the Flash TV show. Which made me think a little bit like all these random ass movies they're working on are possibly going to be brought together in a multiverse. kind of scenario later on.
I mean, it's a safe bet. That's literally what they're doing on TV right now. Supergirl started at CBS in a totally different dimension, and now she's on the CW, and that's literally how they bring her into the other dimensions through the Flash's TV show. And
they do it when they team up, not all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And they can just kind of like make any new shows that they want and just throw them in any dimensions. And it's really funny. It's really funny to see how, like, on a network budget, you can portray like different dimensions. Like, literally, there's a dimension on the Flash TV show where you go there and just all of their screens are just in portrait mode instead of landscape, and that's like the one defining feature. You're just like walking around through like their city, and everyone has just rotated their screens like 90 degrees. It's just so silly, but it's just kind of funny. But I mean, yeah, this could work. I mean, this is a strategy for sure to kind of explain all of the nonsense going on over there. I like Ezra Miller. I enjoyed him as the Flash. I hope they can really cement him as a speedster in his own movie. I don't know when that's going to come.
Well, what this actually gave me an idea was, what if, everyone, we talked about the Avengers was the team up of all the people coming together, right, to save the world. Justice League was essentially the same exact movie, but way worse. Why can't DC make their big team-up movie essentially the series Crisis on Infinite Earths, where it's not necessarily everyone's coming together to save the world from a big alien who's coming to rule it, but like they're saving it from the collapse of all the multiverses so they can deal with all these worlds coming together rather than have them all in one world and like, you're only saving your world. Because DC has that ability on lock, way easier to access with the Flash, because if they can put it into a TV show and explain it, they can put it into a movie and explain it just as well.
Now, what would be crazy and next level along the same lines of what you're thinking here, and only Warner Brothers could do this, because Warner Brother owns these characters full stop. So they have control of all of the DC properties at the mothership kind of level. What if they did do that and even expanded it to the TV shows? Like, obviously write it in a way to where your TV shows can still exist. But wouldn't that be crazy if Grant Gustin, who's just on your little tiny screen playing the Flash, showed up on the big screen next to Ezra Miller, even just for 15 minutes? Like, that would be just insane. Like, if you could go to that level. I mean, and that's kind of almost what media requires of us now. Like, if you want to make a splash in pop culture with all of this competition out there, you got to pool in all of your assets. That would just be insane. That would be so cool. Like, everybody would freak out and geek out, and I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's likely to happen, but that's how you make a splash and be like, hey, Marvel, you ain't doing this at this level. So
and then watch them do it on their Disney Plus shows.
like
almost immediately after. But what would be also cool, what if you got Ezra Miller to go in the TV show as well in one of the episodes?
That would be cool.
Like, they film all the stuff at once for the TV and the movie, and they're like, here's your footage.
Yeah.
Make it happen in your show.
They just need someone visionary that doesn't think about it as return on investment. Think about it as return on your fans. Like, keep those people grounded and really loving the DC universe. That just be like, okay, clearing Ezra's calendar and getting him to Vancouver to be able to film a scene for the TV show of The Flash.
Well, put him on a green screen running. Like, he doesn't really have to do anything. Just show him. Like, all you gotta do is show him.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like, it's not gonna be maybe worth all the effort financially, but like, holy crap, would everybody be blogging and talking about that through like the nerd community, that DC was the first to kind of cross these major properties over in a huge way. But I'll give a shout out to the Flash TV show. They're on a little break right now, but if you the next most recent episode coming back from their break is going to be King Shark versus Gorilla Grodd, which is, I think, super crazy and super cool. Like, these two big CG characters on just a network broadcast TV budget, and they're just throwing them into an episode together. I'm sure some of the parts are going to look really weird and kind of oddly textured and not motion captured quite right, but I think it's going to be crazy and weird enough to work. So there's a lot of loyal people watching that show. Throw Ezra Miller in there. That'd be crazy. That'd be even crazier.
Well, I also want to go back and actually say Marvel actually did do this first when they brought Samuel L. Jackson and Sif into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's true. I will give them props for the Samuel L. Jackson side of things. Maybe not so much the Sif, because those episodes seem to like not go anywhere or really do anything.
But they still brought one of the movie actors into the TV show. Whether it was a huge actor or not, it's not like bringing Chris Hemsworth or anybody into there. But like they still made the effort to bring someone from the movies in.
Yeah, it'd be like bringing in Alfred from Batman vs Superman into one of the CW shows. Like, okay, well that's cool. But
in Crisis on Infinite Earths, they go grab Alfred out of the show Pennyworth and put him in there as like a murderous Alfred they have to send on like stealth blackouts missions.
Oh, geez, that's one. I think the Pennyworth show is gonna need that. So,
God, they need something. That's for sure. We haven't even seen it yet, so we could be wrong. Krypton apparently amazing. So I mean, we could be wrong. Probably not. It's on Epix, but. Anyway, Mike, that's all our news for this week. You got anything else you want to throw my way?
No, I think that's good. I'm looking forward to next week. We'll talk a little bit more about Umbrella Academy on the record with spoilers. And then the week after that, freaking Captain Marvel here and ready to go. Really, really kicking off the superhero year for us for sure.
Because it's that, and then Shazam, and then Hellboy, and then Endgame. I mean, the only way we can go is higher, further, and faster, baby. Like, that's really all I'm seeing this year going. So
there you go.
But anyway, Mike, if people want to know what you're up to, what are you doing, where can they find you at?
Well, they can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram and Twitter, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you and see that video of your cat watching another cat on television, which is actually pretty funny, where can they find that?
You can find me on Twitter at Valdan, Valdan. I did post a video there. I was like, did I? Then on Instagram at Valdan87, and you can find my cat Gemma, named after Gemma Simmons in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., watching Goose, the cat from Captain Marvel. It's all related. You might even find a Stan Lee cameo, Mike, if you look hard enough.
All right.
There is. You can also head over to Comic UI. We are less than a month away from C2E2. I'm very excited. Word on the street is I might get to see Paul Rudd in person.
Love that guy.
I mean, hopefully he is not little person size like from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Start working on your anecdote. You need an anecdote before you go talk to a celebrity.
I know. I need to do it because he's there for the Clueless reunion, which is actually going on there. Hopefully they get Bill Pope.
Hey, in there you go. That's your anecdote.
Yeah, tell me about Bill. I want to know about Bill.
Yeah, and you'll seem extra cool and like edgy because like somebody who worked on the production.
Yeah. How did Bill go from your movie to The Matrix? What happened? Was he that good on your movie set? But yeah, so that's coming up. If you guys have anything you want me to cover or do there, or if you're going to be there and want to say hi and hang out with me, get some selfies on, whatever, let me know. We'll do that. Mike, if people want to tune into our Umbrella Academy and Captain Marvel reviews, which are coming up around the corner, where can they find all of our episodes at?
It's so easy, Chris. All you got to do is visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues that we host our little show and to get our awesome show notes. So if you want to see that live stream of Goose the Cat, or if you want to link to the Wolverine podcast trailer, if you want to see those Daredevil New York Times billboards, we got all those links in our show notes. Everything's nicely itemized and time-stamped. It's just awesome. I love our show notes. And you can also get upcoming releases of all the films that we're keeping track of this year, a nice itemized, quick-to-look list on our website. And you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. We'll put it wherever you want. Let us know if there's a podcast service that we don't know about, and we'll put it there. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can get merch like shirts, mugs, mouse pads at superheroslate.com/store. And we love hearing from you. Reach out to us in the YouTube comments and Twitter. You can send us an email. I don't think we have our addresses out there, but for some reason, if you have a physical address or any of the two of us, write us a letter. I'm not going to give that out on the internet because that's weird. But if you have it, you can write me a letter, or Chris, and that would be cool too.
Or just take a picture of it and email it to us too. We'll accept that. We'll acknowledge.
Yeah, that might be a little bit more streamlined. But yeah, we love hearing from you. We love our fans. If you want to be a super fan, all you got to do is share the show with a friend. Share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week. And it seems like for these next couple weeks, we might be here twice a week doing spoiler casts. So make sure you're subscribed, and those reviews and spoiler casts will pop up in your feed as well. So bam, there you go, Chris. Another week down the drain.
Yes, it is down the drain, and 4 more episodes in the next 2 weeks, Mike. 4 more episodes. No, I'm kidding. Well, not really, probably. But anyway, I guess we'll catch you guys then. See ya.
All right, see you on the flippity.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Like the Olympics when they come around, like I just so very, very vaguely don't need it. I don't know.
Who's watching TV? Not us. Not us.